Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and welcome to the channel. Here I do emotive reviews, try to show off brand new games, and share new experiences with you. So if you want to subscribe, we stream here every week. Definitely stay tuned for that and join the Discord if you want to have some discourse there, keyboard warriors, but also I'm going to meet you in the comments below. Let's have some fun. But today, yes, Broken Ranks is an newly announced, some people are calling it an MMO, but it is an online tactical RPG. It's going to be dark. I don't know if it's technically grimdark, but it's gorish, it's mature, and it's definitely meant for an older audience. And these type of titles have been rare and niche throughout the years, but I think now, especially with this level of presentation and just in general the gaming landscape being more aware of these type of games, and many of them like XCOM and of course, Final Fantasy Tactics being re-released, and just in general JRPGs, turn-based combat coming back into sort of a spotlight, I think people are definitely a little bit more open to this style of game. So I think this one will probably take off better than any others that have been in the past, such as Atlantica, or maybe even this team's previous game. So I think that, yeah, Broken Ranks does look, first glance, eyeballing it, looks very good. I already watched the trailer, I'm going to play that a few times in the background, but also we are going to be ranting a little bit about, I think, in my opinion, the misnaming of the genre here, and I don't know, I really want to elaborate on that. But first, let's go ahead and say, what is Broken Ranks? What can we expect from this title? It is called an MMO, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say it's not an MMO. So if you guys want to fight about that without watching the rest of the video, then go ahead and do that. But this is an online game, keep that in mind. But it is going to be turn-based, and I really think the gameplay, the trailer was really well done enough for that. And if you want my impressions on the production quality of this game, I actually do think this is really high. I think the art, the 2D art, the backgrounds, the settings, the set pieces, all that looks really well done. I love the incredibly mature art direction that the game has as well, and it does make me feel a bit nostalgic for some older titles, while still being, this is high fidelity. This isn't just like, oh, it's the same old art from old games, no, actually this feels really new. It's just very high quality. Their website is incredibly well done as well. And oh, by the way, guys, if you want a high quality website just like Broken Ranks has, I actually provide those services. Email me at skylentshore@gmail.com. Let's get your game published. So yeah, I like all the screenshots that I've seen. I liked all the gameplay to an extent. However, it is a turn-based game. You are going to encounter enemies in an overworld setting that then you do go into an instanced turn-based battle. While the turns do have time sensitivity, I think it's like 10 seconds or something like that. That is, yeah, it is time sensitive, but still it's turn-based. Not too uncommon, actually. There are some turn-based MMOs. Okay, there's one, at least, and that's RuneScape. Now, some of you guys are like, wait, what? No, RuneScape is actually turn-based with its tick-based. It's so low, like the tick rate is so low in RuneScape that it is technically turn-based. And if you click fast enough, you actually can do more actions per turn than another player. And so in a way, it's real-time, but in a way, it's turn-based. So that way, it's still an MMO. You still are interacting directly inside of the overworld. However, in my opinion, you break the MMO genre tag when you do have instancing. When, like if a game is just 4 players fighting one monster, that's not an MMO. It's if there's a bunch of people in a field, 50, 40, 100, something like that, all fighting a giant monster or all interacting with the, the ecosystem within it, that's an MMO, and I think that's a big distinction. You play Monster Hunter, not an MMO. You go into Guild Wars 2 and fight a giant, dragon that shoots tidal waves and hits like 50 or 100 people, that is an MMO. And that clear distinction is, yeah, that's why we play MMOs, that's why I play MMOs. So some people are calling this an MMO. I wouldn't put it that. This is a unique type of game that has a lot of instancing. So as an example, one part of this game is that you're actually building up your kingdom, your castles, and it's kind of townville-y, farmville-y. It's kind of, it's a city builder. It's a city builder that has, you go out into adventures through dungeons, tactical-based gameplay and combat. And there are a few other games that do this city building thing, actually dozens, that have called themselves MMOs, because I guess you can somewhat, like, there is online interaction, there is maybe guilds, some sort of social interaction, maybe you can trade resources, or sometimes you can send asynchronously units to help your teammates, or something like that. But really, in the end, these are asynchronous games, and I don't know if you can consider asynchronous gameplay actual MMO gameplay, which is definitely the deeper rant that I want to have here, because this game is really self-explanatory. But In the end, if you have to call this an MMO, I think you need to say it is an asynchronous MMO. And if you guys don't know what asynchronous means, it basically means not in real time. It means not in sync. It means that there are games where you basically can send out units and someone else can send units to attack you, but it's at different times and those units aren't directly interacting with each other. Some real life sports that are asynchronous would be golf, would be bowling, and in fact, I don't play those. And actually, if I play mini golf, which I just did actually with my son, had so much fun, I play where you can actually hit each other's balls. That way there is synchronicity. Even though there's turns, you actually are still directly interacting with each other. So I think you can have a turn-based MMO, and I think it's possible, which I've seen in RuneScape. I would actually debatably call that a turn-based MMO, but there is live interaction. There is a real-time concept to it, and just having, like, you know, I guess, you know, like in Final Fantasy, you just have like that time limit gauge or whatever. Yeah, so I don't think having like a 10-second limiter on turns or decisions inside of an instanced battle makes it, you know, real time exactly. I don't think it makes it an MMO. So just keep that in mind, guys. Yeah, there probably is going to be some social elements to this game. Yeah, there's probably going to be guilds. There's probably going to be a community with this title. But at the same time, if you're expecting like a really strategic and also proper MMO experience, that's not going to be this. So what do you guys think? Are games like Atlantica Online or Wakfu, are those games actually MMOs? You know, or are they just online RPGs? Or should we actually call them async MMOs? Like, do we need to add that distinction? And that's actually been the case for many other genres, namely a big one being roguelike and roguelite, where roguelike is very specifically the strategy-focused games, the ones that are turn-based, where roguelite is going to be the action-based games. So, yeah, I think there is a proper distinction. The vibe and feel and literally gameplay loop of Broken Ranks is totally different from something like Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, or World of Warcraft. But I would like to know your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. In the end, though, I think that this game has a lot of potential for what it actually is. You know, now that we've kind of skipped over the rant and maybe the mis-advertising practices, which I don't think actually, I'm looking on the website and I don't see them actually claiming this is an MMO, but whatever, debatable. In the end, though, I would really like to actually play a strategy online game like this. I tried playing some Might and Magic game from Ubisoft one time. I thought it was pretty cool. I think tactics games have potential. I mean, I'm actually trying to replay through Final Fantasy Tactics right now, and there's a few other games I would like to give a shot to, but I gotta admit, I love online games. I really want an online tactics game to work, and I've played a few that there was like this one Atlas reactor or something. See, the problem with online and turn-based is it's kind of pointless. I'm gonna be honest. It's like, if you have a turn-based system, then that means one player could theoretically make all the decisions for all of the different units, especially if it's just like 5, which we actually see in this party menu. You don't need someone else to make decisions for you. It's like, it's literally pointless. You know, like 2-player chess is kind of pointless. Nobody really cares. It's 1v1 because it's turn-based and duh. So yeah, but you need like soccer, football, you know, basketball, things like this. You need multiple people because it's actually real time, and that's what makes MMOs special. Multiple people in real time making decisions, working all together, or fighting each other. That is the specialness. So a game like this, I really do want to see what online features they have, which is probably going to be mostly built into the guild and the conquesting, and it's going to be a lot into the resource management. But, you know, how in-depth that actually is and what tools we have as a guild to grow and conquest and fight others, I don't actually know. But in terms of the moment-to-moment gameplay, this is probably going to be a very isolating title, and as well, not many units on the screen, so hopefully the actual, itemization, hopefully like, you know, you play Path of Exile, you have some really ridiculous abilities, the mixing and matching, you can literally create spells. If this game is anything less than that, then this is just a less game. Like, this is just going to be a lesser experience. It's slower, it's not action combat. There is going to be, I think, based on the art style and everything that I've seen, probably a lower fantasy or a lower power fantasy, and I think in the end, it's just not going to have the impact that a lot of people want. So for tactical depth, I really want to have an tremendously huge number of items, swords, magic abilities, and customization per any individual unit. And then, of course, you do get multiple units, or you can play with your friends. So I do want to see that mixing and matching, but hopefully also there's some really fun gimmicks overall in the combat. And this isn't just sort of a rehash of general, usual tactical-based abilities, combat, RNG, and systems that we're used to. I really need these mechanics to be different, which I can't actually comment on until we really see it, or if we get further, videos or comments from the developer. But it does look really cool, and this is something that I want to talk about because this is a niche game. Plus, I really wanted to talk about that rant of, is an MMO actually an MMO if it's not real time? But in the end, if there's any game in this whole genre that I actually maybe kind of care about, it's this one, because every other game, like, people just stop, we just stop caring. We don't play those city builders anymore. We don't play tactical games anymore. Because generally they're just copy-paste, generally they've lacked heart, and generally they've been very unpolished, and generally they shut down instantly because they're just cash grabs and looking for whales. So this being a city-building, tactical, hyper-instance, I don't fucking know, grindy RPG, it looks very mobile game, and that's cool. No, this probably could be a very fun mobile game, but I think a lot of us look at it and be like, oh man, this kind of looks like Raid Shadow Legends. So in the end, as a mobile experience, I think it could be very fun. I think a lot of older, more like sort of like gatekeeping style, like RPG players are going to have a lot of fun with this game. Because it does look high quality compared to pretty much everything else on mobile, and as long as it's not pay to win, I mean zero pay to win, because I know this is a city builder, I'm talking no convenience. Whatever you think is, oh, this is for convenience, I don't want any of that either. If there's boosters or anything like that, or especially if it's a gacha style game, really not gonna have fun with that. I don't like that I can't find anything about its microtransactions, but I think that overall this is probably the best shot that we have at this style of game, and I'm gonna make a video basically more for the rant, but also at the same time to gauge interest. Do you guys like games like this? Should we cover more tactical, more mature, more serious style titles, more tactical focused games? Or is it all about the big explosions, the power fantasy, and playing with hundreds of other players inside of our MMOs? I need to know. So guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I want to say about Broken Ranks. Can only replay the trailer so many times, but much love. I'll see you in the next one.